Hi, I'm Julia Holzkamp, and my presentation today is about how overproduction and consumerism impact the environment. So, just jumping in with some background information. Following the Second World War, individuals were overjoyed with this newfound sense of freedom that they had received with the end of the war. The American experience is quoted saying jobs were plentiful, wages were higher, and because of the lack of consumer goods during the war, Americans were eager to spend. And that they did. They purchased goods they needed, goods they didn't need, and goods they were told they needed. Because of this, demand was at an all-time high, and consequentially, supply grew with it. The United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network is quoted saying, with the scale of global economic activity doubling roughly every generation, we must change how the economy functions, or the environmental consequences of growth will become overwhelming and indeed devastating. And I believe this to be true to the fullest extent, because even if you look at recent activity, the rate of consumption is mind-boggling. It's unbelievable how much is being produced every day and how much is being wasted every day. That being said, it is my understanding that the birth of overproduction and overconsumption came about following the Second World War. Now, of course, this impacts everybody, and everybody is related to this issue, and everybody is influenced by others in regards to this issue. Um, Grant McCracken is quoted saying, the consumption of individuals is seen to be influenced by membership in families, social classes, subcultures, ethnic groups, lifestyles, friendship circles, occupations, and the reference groups in which membership is desired. Of course, there's no way to get rid of that influence, but I believe that if the individuals on the top of that tier of influence were to do something about it, then great change could be made. I believe the economic aspect of this problem would be the producers of the goods that are getting thrown out left and right. They influence who buys them, their demographic, who they're targeted towards. And then the social aspect would be those consumers that are purchasing these goods and purchasing and then decluttering and throwing this out, resulting in waste unlike anything you've ever seen. Landfills are being seen growing every single day, and there's not enough room for this waste, so it goes in the ocean, which is unfortunately quite the opposite of the definition of sustainability given by Margaret Robinson, which would be systems and processes that are able to operate and persist on their own over long periods of time. Now, of course, there are many solutions to an issue such as this, but not all of them really seem feasible in an environment like ours, a in an economic environment like ours. One solution was a policy proposed by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and this policy would require both limiting the amounts of total waste generated as well as enhancing water management systems. Um, I believe this is a great way to go about mitigating the impacts that we have had on the environment in terms of our consumption, but unfortunately, when individuals are told to do something, that makes them want to not do it. So we must influence each other in terms of solving this issue. So, just simple things like responsible spending or just even living simpler lives, like we could go without so many of the things that are viewed as luxuries. Overall, I believe that something has to be done about this issue very soon in order to protect such a vulnerable planet. And here are all my references that range from the media or photos on my slides to the literature pieces.